Okay, welcome back, guys. I hope you can see this. This is not the ideal situation. I don't think this phone holder is going to work for me, but we're going to try it today. And I hope that you can kind of see what I'm doing. I obviously don't know what I'm doing, but I want to show you how I do these whimsical watercolor blooms, okay? Let's just try this out here. So I've wet my sponge. I've got my water jars here. And I'm afraid to move this camera because it doesn't fit very well in the holder. And so I'm going to leave it focused on this. But I've got 2 jars of water and I've got my watercolor palette. And I want to tell you that the watercolors you use, I'm not going to say they don't matter, they do. But for this, if you're just learning, you can go buy some Crayolas at Walmart. You can buy Prang, P-R-A-N-G is a good student grade brand to buy. And we'll talk more about the colors and everything in another video. But so what I do is I wet the sponge so that it is soaks up water. And I've got my brushes here, and we'll talk about those later. But I'm going to mix up maybe a purple. I always like to use purple. So let me see if I can. Okay, I don't think you can see my palette, but I am mixing up a purple from some cobalt blue and some, I think it's quinacridone pink. Okay, so I've got a nice puddle of, I'll show it to you, a nice puddle of purple there. And so I'm going to get my sponge nice and saturated with that color. And then I'm just going to randomly, let's turn it back again here. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'll get better at this, okay? It's only my, what, 4th video? Yeah, episode, well, no, it's the 3rd. It's the second part of the 3rd video. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to turn. And you see, I get this beautiful dot. Okay. And I'm going to just randomly place them. You don't want to really, I'm really just randomly doing this based on where I think they should go. And, I'll let some go off the page. Okay, so that's the first step, is the spouncers. Now, these come in different sizes. Here's, I think, the smallest size. And I do use it, some too, but you can use anything to make a circle. This is just what started the process, okay? So then I take my favorite pen, which is the waterproof, fade-proof Uniball Vision. And if you get these, you can get them at Walmart, you can get them at Amazon. Just make sure it says waterproof, fade-proof. There are different Vision pens. This one is a fine point. It's kind of what I call the original Vision waterproof, fade-proof, because you've got to have waterproof or it won't work. So before these even dry, most of the time, I'll go in and I'll start drawing my circles. I just draw an outline basically around the circles. And I apologize if this is too slow for you. Maybe you're crocheting or knitting while you're watching. Now you see what happens when I run into, can you see that? Yeah. When I run into the water, the ink, because it's wet, will run a little. But I love that, so I don't worry about that. Okay? In fact, when I do these, I don't worry about much of anything. They're just fun. So I'm drawing circles around all these. Okay. And you notice I'm holding my pen up pretty high and just kind of being very loose. And sometimes I draw way more than one circle and just go round and round. And so, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to this. It's not definitely not rocket science. Okay, so then, I hope you can see this. I don't know how to make this better, but I declare I will figure it out. I don't know how you're going to see it, but I just start making petals. Can you see? No, because I'm in my own way. But anyway, I just start drawing little scallops, little half C's, if you will. The wonkier they are, the better. Can you see that? Okay. And then I add another layer. And usually what I do is like I start in the middle of one and go to the middle of the other. Just, I don't know why. Okay, because I think it's more, excuse me, more interesting than just going, you know, right on top of the other one. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So now I've got 2 layers of petals, and then I'll come back and do another one by doing the same thing. I'm just making another half circle, and I'm starting it in the middle and going to the middle of that one. And you see how wonky my lines are? I don't want them to be perfect, okay? So I'm just having fun, just letting this wonderful pen glide across the paper. I'll talk about paper more as we go on, but let's just start with this. You definitely want watercolor paper. All right, so do you see? I even, you know, when I get around to the end, one's smaller than the other. You don't worry about any of that, okay? That's what's so lovely about this. You just don't worry about anything. Now, for these, I may make different styles of petals. See those? Can you see those? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going around. I feel like anybody can do this. Truly, I do. So there's that. Now maybe we'll leave that one just the way it is. Okay. Then on this one, I'm going to come in and make a different style of flower. I haven't done one like this in a while. See how wonky that is? See how little that petal is compared to the others? I don't even know if I'm doing this right, y'all. Bear with me. Please bear with me. So that's... And then I think I'm going to go in here and add some little tiny petals. Can you see that? Okay. And I'm just going to keep doing this. Okay, so I'm not going to do the whole page because I don't want to bore you to tears. But I would just keep doing that to all the circles and make each one kind of different. Now this last one that I did, I'm going to go back over with a second line and just kind of redefine that last line. So I'm going to work with these 3 flowers and show you the next steps. I have a little brush here. It's a size 4. And we can talk about brushes later. This This is a Kolinsky Sable brush, I think. I'm going to make this one a bright yellow. And I do mean bright. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but it went into my purple center. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm coloring outside the lines because you can. Okay. And then I'm just going to take my brush and just kind of let this color bleed into the background. Do you see that? I'll talk about these techniques more in other videos, but watercolor is just that. You want lots of water, okay? So you can see how I'm just kind of letting that bleed into the background. Now, where it's gone into this purple right here, I'm probably going to dry my brush a little bit just by flicking the water off and go in and pick some of that up because I really don't like it to be that obvious. So see, I kind of cleaned that up. Now, these are my water-soluble crayons. They are called Caran d'Ache, and they are my favorite things. They are Neocolor 2 water-soluble wax crayons, okay? So I have a favorite color here, which is, and it's broken because I do that, it is purple, and it is so luscious. So I'm going to come in and just color these petals with those crayons. I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm just putting some color in the spaces. I'm not worrying about anything, you know, I'm just laying color down, basically, scribbling. Okay, so, and that's on dry paper. Now, I'm going to go all the way around and just put a little color in each petal. Okay. Now, just wait till you see what happens when I add water. All right, so you see that? I'm leaving white space. I'm just scribbling. Now I'm taking this brush with some clean water and I'm just going to wet the paper. I hope you can see what is occurring even as we speak. It's magic. Look at this. Ooh. Okay. I usually do this a little neater and slower, but I'm trying very hard to make this interesting and not bore you. Okay, so I'm just wetting. That's all I'm doing. I'm staying in the lines for the most, I mean, not, you know, in the lines of the outside of the flower at least, but I did make a mess right about here, so I'm just going to let that bleed into the background. And water does such, I mean, watercolor, water-soluble color does such amazing things when it's mixed with water. I mean, just look at that. Just look at that texture. Okay, so I think I'm going to make this one down here orange. So I'm going to mix up a good orange with a couple different colors here. Sorry, I just accidentally stuck my hand in my watercolor palette and got paint all over my finger. Okay, anyway. Yellow, this is like an Indian yellow, and then I've got an orangey red here that I'm going to mix. You can't see me, but you'll see me in a minute. So here's the, ooh, look, I messed up and got, all right, so I smeared that all up. You see that? I'm not going to worry about that. And if you're doing this, I don't want you to worry about that. Okay? Because it'll just add to the layers and you won't, it's not going to matter. This is for fun, right? You can do it in a sketchbook. You can do it on a separate piece of paper. And you don't ever have to show anybody. It can just be for your own pleasure and enjoyment. Because if you do this and you're quiet and you meditate, I mean, not meditate, I don't meditate. I'm not into meditation at all. But what I mean when I say meditate is it is very meditative, watercolor. It's a way to kind of get out of yourself and get absorbed in something beautiful and just forget time, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful activity. Okay, so do you see I've let the color kind of pool? You want lots of water, not too much, but now if you have dry paper, the watercolor's not going to go there. So that's going to be your boundary. We all need boundaries, right? You hear a lot about that. Okay, so I'm just going in. A lot of times I'll leave more white space, but by just not painting that, but I didn't leave a lot in this. Look what I did. Okay, see, I'm not going to worry about that. Do you see it? Do you see my little mess? I'm just going to let it fade into the background. See, it will go wherever the water is. So if you see those little tiny dry spots, I think I keep moving. See those little dry spots? It's not going to go there. So I just kind of touch. And so there you go. Okay. So that's the first layer. And then I just keep adding, and here is a white uni Posca pen. I have several of these. It's acrylic paint in a marker. Okay, you can buy them at Hobby Lobby. You can buy them online. We'll get into all that. All the supplies we'll get into later. But I may come in, and I may add some more Neo colors. I might add some colored pencil. When it's all dry, I may just layer and layer and layer and add to this. And you can spend as much time or as little time as you want on it. And I may come in, excuse me, I want to grab this and show you. Do you see how on this one I added lines and swirls, and I added some of that Posca pen. I added all kinds of layers. Do you see all the different lines and layers? And here I've like put down a swirl, and then I've taken a paper towel and blotted it so it's lighter. So I mean, you can just go and go and go and go and go with these. But I don't want to bore you too much, so I'm going to leave you with these three, okay? And in another video, I will show you the finished product and how I've, incorporated all these. You can let these overlap. You can have leaves. You can come in and draw just little leaf designs. You can draw swirls. You can add more dots with smaller spouncers to give it some variety. You can do whatever because this is your art, okay? So I'm going to stop there. This is my first very weird tutorial, and I apologize for the way my setup is. I am going to work on this, okay? So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for watching the third episode of Deb's Artsy Life, and I will film the next one soon. Have a great day.